What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and we are doing another NFL playoff prediction video, and this time we're going to be letting Madden decide, as I would assume you have already seen the prediction video for myself on what I think is going to happen. Now we're going to see what Madden thinks, which obviously a lot of that is going to be dependent on the ratings of a lot of players and whatnot, and some injuries and all that, but we have it all set up. I don't know if it's exactly the same, yards and all that and whatnot, but all the matchups are correct, and that's really all that matters. We're going to pretty much get right into it. If you guys enjoy these types of videos, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe. I do want to take a look at, how far off this is going to be, because there's a few matchups that could be really bad that it would just be completely wrong on. And well, would you look at that? Isn't that just timing? As, yes, it is possible, but that is by far the biggest upset you could ever expect. The Raiders win, which is kind of an upset. The Patriots win, that's a huge upset. What do we have? Well, maybe not. I mean, it's a huge upset, but it's not like, impossible. The Chiefs expected, kind of. Rams, fair enough. Dallas, fair enough. And Philadelphia. So we're going to end with that one. I want to take a look at some of the other matchups. So for this matchup of the Raiders versus the Bengals, this is how they see it. Joe Burrow just does not have a touchdown in this game. 3 touchdowns for Derek Carr. Very solid numbers. What were the completion percentage stuff? So, a little bit more accurate from Derek Carr. The ground game. Joe Mixon, a couple more touchdowns, but with the volume that the Raiders had, you could definitely tell that they had a better game in general on offense. They were able to run the ball more, control the clock more, and the Raiders were able to get it done with Waller and Edwards. We're on the other side, obviously, Jamar Chase, a huge factor for that Bengals team, really didn't get involved, so if they can have something like that happen in real life, definitely could see that becoming the results. Sack totals, B.J. Hill with a sack, Sample with a sack. No one really, big name-wise. Interceptions kind of irrelevant, and a pretty clean game for the special teams. Now, the Patriots. Now, this is an outcome that would happen based on that defense, so I do agree with the score of it rather than, the result maybe. But Josh Allen and Mac Jones, kind of similar performances, but more accurate from Josh Allen. Not by a huge margin, but definitely by a little bit. Josh Allen got involved running, but not super well. The Bills in general just couldn't run the ball. Just seems like the Patriots defense just absolutely locked up Buffalo, and that, of course, seems to be the main reason why they were able to win. No sacks, though, no interceptions. Very clean playoff football, which is something you don't usually see, right? The defenses get a bit more involved in the postseason because you have a little bit more risk that you have to take. So, more blitzing typically and more issues. Mahomes, far from perfect. Pretty good pass defense in Pittsburgh. Big Ben, kind of something you would expect. Maybe a pick or two, though. Completion percentage was just so bad. Najee was able to run the ball, but not well enough. 4.2 yards per carry probably isn't good enough to beat the Chiefs, especially if your pass game isn't good. Run game for the Chiefs, kind of similar. Not really the expected names being the main contributors, both sides, but fair enough performance. A pretty tame game, to be honest, even though the scoring was high. A sack from each side, interception from Schobert and Devin Bush. Kicks, it is what it is. And then now we move on to the Rams versus the Cardinals here. A very low offensive output game for the Rams, it seems, but maybe a lot of touchdowns. You can see 4 touchdowns, even though the yardage was kind of small. The yardage combined for the Rams might have been less than Kyler Murray on his own, but as you can see, the Cardinals were limited on the ground, assuming Aaron Donald had a lot to do with that. Odell Beckham, 2 touchdowns, pretty good performance there. AJ Green gets involved. Van Jefferson could kind of be the X factor in that game, assuming I'm not ignorant and he's actually injured or something. I don't remember hearing anything about it. But Aaron Donald, absolutely masterful performance. Von Miller, Marcus Golden, interceptions, Darius Williams. So there's a special teams mistake. Cardinals might have been a big one too, because 7-point game. Who knows what kind of happened because of that field goal. I'm not sure how aggressive or whatever happened. Maybe at one point LA, I don't think they kicked a field goal, but yeah, screw it. They didn't kick. I was going to say, maybe 1 point LA had a 10-point lead and Arizona had to go for it because they were down 2. It's irrelevant. That's not what happened. San Fran did give a pretty big fight to the Cowboys. A little surprised, though, to see that it was what seems to be the pass game that was successful for the Niners more than anything. Jimmy Garoppolo and Prescott, very high completion percentages. Tony Pollard and Zeke, very fearsome duo. The ground game, a couple of touchdowns, but really not good in the favor of San Francisco. The tight ends, really good performances from both of them. The number ones came out to play as well for wide receivers. So very interesting performance. Sack totals, only one for Hurst, and then a combined from Parsons and Keanu Neal. Interception-wise, there was none. And then special teams, pretty clean yet again. And then for the last game, the one that we're all most excited, I don't know what that was about, it's most excited to see, is Tom Brady versus Jalen Hurts. You know, the best quarterback matchup of all time. You can see Jalen Hurts was feeling the hurt. 5 sacks in the game, no pressure on Brady, yet Brady and the Bucs lost. I don't know how they won. I mean, the run game really wasn't successful for Philly. The pass game seemed okay, but it wasn't crazy spectacular. Of course, Chris Godwin was even here in this situation. I had the pre-existing injuries on, but I don't know if they just, oh yeah, I forgot. We're back in week 15. So even though the Buccaneers, had Chris Godwin, they still lost, which is shocking, to be honest, because once again, that's like the one kind of injury that I can even think of as of late that is huge, and, that wouldn't have counted. So EA has Philadelphia winning, and with Chris freaking Godwin. I mean, if they can beat them, they can beat Green Bay. They can beat anyone. They're literally, they can. Okay, they can. But we see Green Bay versus Dallas. Let's take a look. The other side is KC versus the Patriots. So let's take a look at how this one turned out. Tennessee, I don't know if they would have had Derrick Henry in this one. I would assume. Do they not have Derrick Henry back? Okay, so, I mean, none on the injury, but he didn't start. Maybe they predicted that A.J. Brown, they got A.J. Brown injured here. Maybe they predicted Derrick Henry wasn't ready or he got re-injured. I don't know. It kind of ruins the video because Tennessee's a completely different beast with Derrick out there. You can make the argument that Deontay Foreman's played well, but at the same time, with Derrick Henry in there, he could play even better. So this is kind of an irrelevant point, honestly. It really is. So I'm just going to make the argument that in Sim, they had the Titans offense playing really well in the pass game, which isn't something they probably will be able to do in real life. So I don't know, dude. It's just, we're going to allow it. They predict that the Patriots beat the Titans. It is what it is. I mean, there's nothing really I could do. EA doesn't want to freaking update their thing at all. It's week 15 is where it's set at. It's many weeks behind. Aaron Rodgers has a pretty good performance, 66% completion percent, kind of where you would want your quarterback to be. Aaron Jones had a great game. Sanders, very successful, as kind of would expect against Green Bay's defense. Dillon, not as good, but good enough. And then Jalen Hurts, kind of similar to his last game. Devonte Adams, pretty unguardable. Darius Slay's a really good corner, but Devonte Adams is, very tough to stop for anyone, especially in this NFL, A lot of players got involved for both sides. You got to like to see that. Miles Sanders had a really good game, kind of the man for that team. Sack totals, a couple of sacks, and it's Green Bay. There's got an interception for Devontae. Nice. There's got to be a special teams blunder. There wasn't. Maybe a kick return. Wow. That is probably the biggest upset of the year over the Eagles and the Buccaneers in this one. As the Chiefs roll Derek Carr. But once again, Mahomes, not perfect. Very good, but still some interceptions. 3 so far. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, decent. A couple of touchdowns on top of it. Josh Jacobs, pretty solid numbers. Receiving Travis Kelce, 11 for 114 with 3 touchdowns. And then Demarcus Robinson, really good numbers again. Waller tried his best. He's kind of been like the guy for them, but just not enough. Sack totals pretty tame. Merrick with a pick. Snead with a pick. And then once again, special teams, perfection. And then this game, Dallas versus the Rams, with Stafford throwing for 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. We've seen some pretty bad performances from him lately. You never know. Dak running a little bit. Seems like the Rams just couldn't run the ball at all. I don't know if Cam Akers is going to be back or not in time for the playoffs. I heard some rumbles about it, some rumblings, but apparently not in this scenario. CeeDee Lamb, really good, but where is Amari Cooper? 2 for 19, got locked up, but suppose it freed up some of the other guys like Gallup and Lamb to get open. Kupp was all right, but not good enough to perform for a chance. Did I say not enough? Yeah, it wasn't not enough. Wasn't the Cowboys kind of crushed it. Not enough for a chance at the Super Bowl. DeMarcus Lawrence, a couple of sacks. It seems like the Cowboys were better for pass rush, but it's kind of what happens when you're going with the Dallas offensive line. It's pretty hard to be better, technically, whether your pass rush is better or not. Trayvon Diggs with a pick, as you would expect. Leighton Vander Esch with a pick. And yeah, the Cowboys are going to move on to face the Packers with the Patriots versus the Chiefs. Could we see an upset of the Patriots in the Super Bowl over the Chiefs? As we see, that is not the case. We finally get the State Farm Bowl after all. And of course, we will go in there. I would have, probably switched to a team if it wasn't Green Bay anyways, but we will go in there. That's the team one. All right. The Super Bowl, the two, not top seeds, but close enough, two of the favorites, I suppose. No real upset Super Bowl here from EA, as Mac Jones, the stage was too big. It's very early for him. You can already see the headlines like, oh, great effort, but just a little too soon. New England, bright future, fall short, stuff like that. You definitely see that easily. Interceptions for Ward and Thornhill. Sacks for Judon and Ingram. Judon's been playing pretty well, so it doesn't surprise me. And then Green Bay, a very low-scoring game. Kind of would figure that both teams would run the ball well, but here you can see Green Bay tried to choke the championship again. 5 interceptions by Dak Prescott, and they only won by 6. Maybe EA's sim is better than we thought. I'm just going to say it. I don't know what this is, if they have like a dev freaking, monitoring this sim alone. But it sure as hell seems that way, as this is a very Green Bay performance. Have a ton of picks in the postseason. Yeah, miss field goal on top of it in the championship game and almost blow it. That's insane. Like, what are the actual odds of that happening? Like, you don't see that often in sim. It's usually like 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks, something like that. But not a close game where the other team threw 5 interceptions. But here we go. 84 overall Kansas City Chiefs versus the 86 overall Green Bay Packers. And it would be kind of cool to see some of the cinematics, I suppose, but overall really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. And of course, wait, how many Green Bay? They really don't have it as a neutral site. Do they? I can't tell. There are some, there's a decent bit of it. Now, it's not a neutral site at all. This is awful. Like, is that something they just kind of like forgot about? That the Super Bowl is supposed to be neutral, so if you're going to do it, it's like maybe 40-60 if at best. But it would probably be like 30-40 and then a bunch of random fans that are just rich as hell and have nothing else to spend their money on. Just want to go to a Super Bowl, I suppose. But Packers versus the Chiefs. Very good matchup, and we're about to find out who EA thinks is going to win it all, and a lot of people's favorites to probably play against each other in the Super Bowl. So we'll see. EA finally, even though they started off slow with, teams like Philadelphia winning, they got it right in the end. Let's see what they think, though. In the end of it all, Green Bay is off to a 7-point lead. Still 7 points. Chiefs do answer back, as you would expect. Green Bay with 14. Now it's a 14 all-game. Chiefs had a chance before halftime, just ran out of time, though. A 14-17. Green Bay 20-14, similar to their championship game. And the Green Bay defense somehow holds up. We did see a pretty similar score earlier in the year with the Chiefs and the Packers, but of course Jordan Love was in that game. This one you can see Jair was back in there, which is what is expected. I do worry a little bit, though, that he does actually need surgery, and they're kind of, they decided to keep him there just because they needed him so much, and he may re-injure it, which is I would really hate. But, of course, if there is any chance, it would be Jair in there. So, maybe. There's potential for sure. Definitely potential. As a Packers fan, I would absolutely love to see this, but EA comes out and says Green Bay is going to win it all. They finally get past the championship woes. Is that Josh Myers looking like freaking, what's his name? Freaking Brian Bulaga. And yeah, Green Bay wins it all over the Chiefs. even though I'm a Packers fan, so it's probably biasy, but as long as it's not Brady or the Chiefs, I'm happy, honestly. I would not hate seeing a Raiders Super Bowl, just anything, really. But Green Bay, Rodgers really didn't play that well. Got outperformed, but didn't throw that interception. So outperformed, but when it comes to interceptions thrown, when it's this close, you got to give the nod to Rodgers, technically, even though the incompletions were there. And then on the run game, as you would expect in a matchup between these two, Green Bay did have the better ground game, which may have caused that to happen. MVS with a couple of touchdowns, Hardman, a bunch of guys that you just don't expect, right? Travis Kelce, Devonte Adams, Tyreek Hill, they didn't play badly, but as far as catches go, it was some of the outliers on the team, right? Mercedes Lewis, MVS, Hardman, Lazard getting catches, as more catches anyways than the true primaries. Frank Clark, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, and Kingsley Keke. Interception for Sullivan. I mean, just an interesting game to say the least. And yeah, that's the way that's the way Madden sees the season ending with a Green Bay victory. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't disagree with it. I think it's fair. Some of these sims are a little off, though, I will admit. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below if this came out after, which it probably should and would, after the other prediction video. Let me know what you guys think of this, what you think of the other one. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a crazy one. I'm excited. I'm going to watch all the games. And yeah, I'm going to probably pass out from football coma. I don't even know that's a thing. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this one, maybe leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel, PK Plays, and then twitch.tv/Jeromepkr for streams. Should be live tomorrow around 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. I was going to do one today, but a couple of videos, relax, But anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys come back for next video. But until next video,